The lab assignment has several exercises. So I'm going to explain what you need to do in each one. The first one is relatively short. You're basically going to copy this code, paste it into a new project that you're going to call Chapter4 EX1. And then you can see that I've got 2 for loops. And the first one, you are going to convert to a while loop. And the second one, you are going to convert to a do while loop. And if you aren't sure of how to do this, you may want to watch the video of the lecture, because I actually go through this conversion process in the lecture video. Okay. And so that is the whole first exercise. That is all you need to do, is convert it to the different types of loops and make sure they work. Now, what I would do before you change the code is run it, see what it does, and then when you do the conversions, you will know if they worked properly or not. For exercise 2, you are going to be copying a program and fixing the programming errors. So I thought it would be helpful for you guys to have a video of how the program should run. So when all of the errors are fixed, your program should look like the video demonstration. And what you're going to need to do is you're going to create a new program, Chapter4 EX2, and you're going to copy this code. There are errors in this code. In fact, there are 4 lines of codes that have errors. Only one of those errors is going to be flagged as an error before the program is run. Okay, so you'll have an error that you have to fix before the program can run. The other 3 errors are runtime errors, which result in the program running, but it does not run correctly. So you need to pay attention to the arithmetic operators and the data types. That is my hint to you. So you are going to copy and paste this, and then you will immediately notice that there is a problem that you are going to have to fix. And once you fix the problem, then when you run it, the output is not going to be correct. So again, only one of the errors is going to be visible before you run it, but it is not going to run right. So you are going to have to fix 3 additional errors. For exercise 3, you're writing code for an ice cream shop. The shop sells 3 different sized cones, small, medium, and large. Small cones get 1 scoop of ice cream, medium cones get 2 scoops with 2 different flavors, and large cones can have 3 scoops with 3 different flavors. The cost of a small cone is $2.50, medium is $3, and a large cone is $3.50. So you're going to create a new program, and the program should welcome the customer, determine how many ice cream cones the customer is going to purchase, and then for each ice cream cone the customer purchases, you need to know what the size is and what the flavor or flavors of ice cream are. Okay, so you're going to have a little loop here. You should total the cost of the cones and let the customer know how much to pay. And the amount should be formatted with 2 decimal places. So this is similar to a for loop exercise. Over here, it is similar to example 2, but instead of ice cream cones, it says items. Okay, and so here there you're going to enter the price, enter the quantity, adding it to a total. And so this is a little different because what you need to do is you can still use a for loop here because you know how many cones they're going to buy. Okay, so that is your for loop then is going to end up being for integer count equals 0. Count is less than the number of cones, which is a value you have read in. And then you'll do count plus plus. Oops. So this is going to be your for loop, right? So then once you're inside here, what you need to ask is the size of the cone. Okay, and you're going to give them the choice of small, medium, and large. So you're going to have to do your little prompt here. And I'm just going to put in prompt for cone size. Small, medium, or large. Okay, and so that's going to be a string. So you're going to read in the string. And this can be a nested if else or a switch, okay, whichever. You're not checking that many things, so it does not matter to me which one, but you are going to have to check the size. And so when it's a small, you're going to ask for the flavor. Actually, there's a couple of ways you can do this. I might do something like this. If size, cone size equals small, flavors equals 1. And these variables all need to be declared. If cone size, and this couldn't be in a switch, or it can be in a nested if else. It's 2, and otherwise we're going to give them 3. And then we probably would do another little loop here, right? Flavor count. Flavor count is less than flavors. Flavor count plus plus. Okay, and then when you're inside this little loop, basically you're going to ask them for the flavor they want. Ask what flavor they want. Read in the flavor. Okay, so that's the loop. We're checking the cone sign up here, the cone size, and we're setting the number of flavors, but we might as well set the price as well, because the price is based on the size. And for the medium, I think you guys are probably getting the idea here. The price was 3. And since we're assuming large, if they key in anything else, the price is 350. Okay. So at this point, we have done everything we needed for the first cone. Okay, the only thing that we haven't done is add the price into the total. So you're going to have to declare a total up above the for loop, and then it would just be total price plus equal price. Okay, and that is exactly what you need to add to this program for them to be able to buy multiple cones. Okay, and after you total up the price, then you're going to display a message back telling the customer how much they owe. Okay, and here it says use a switch statement, but a switch or an if else is fine here because we're not checking that many things. Okay, so either one is perfectly fine. If you want to use a switch, you're going to switch on the cone size. And then so it would be case small. And then we would put, we don't need these in here for switches. What you do need is a break. And then we have case medium. And again, we do not need curlies, but we do need the break. And then here would be our default. And break in here. Here's the ending curly for the switch, and we will add in a beginning one. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you use a switch or if else. Okay, either one would work. Okay, so here's an example of the program running. Okay, and then once you have that working, you will move on to exercise 4, which is a game that you are going to simulate rolling dice using the random number generator. So it's going to be kind of like blackjack, but instead of trying to get to 21, you're going to try to reach 100 without going over the amount. So this is similar to random number programming example 3. Okay, and where we are rolling dice. But instead of accumulating, the number of 1s, 2s, and 3s, we are going to take the value and we're going to add it into a total. So it is a little bit different. So I've actually given you some information here. And let's see. You're going to have 2 players. Player 1 will be the computer, and player 2 is going to be the person executing the program. First player to reach 100 without going over wins. And so player 1 is the computer. So you are going to roll the dice for player 1 first. And so I kind of guessed that 28 times would be about right, but you can certainly change the number. So this is going to be a for loop. You're going to total up the dice rolls and display the computer's total value to player 2 so they know what value they need to beat. And so you're going to create a random object and use the next method to retrieve a value between 1 and 6. Okay, so in this respect, it is like that programming example for dice. Now, at this point, the computer has gone. So you know the number that you need to beat. And so you're going to use a for loop for player one, but for player two, you are going to ask if they want to stop or continue. So this is not going to be a for loop. It's going to be a while loop or a do while loop. So the while loop logic is similar to the code on page 23 in the book. But because you are going to be asking them if they want to stop or continue, the while loop is going to work best for this. Okay, so this is going to end up being kind of a self-contained thing for player one, because you are automatically going to do it 28 times. Okay, so and you're going to want two variables. You're going to want one for player one total and player two total. All right. And so here, okay, you're going to have to declare, and I'm not going to give you all of this code because it's in examples, but you're going to create your random object. And I actually would create that object out of the loop because you're going to use it in both the for loop and the while loop. So I would actually probably create it up here. Okay, and then you're going to use that random object to call next. Okay, and then you're going to pass next, the 1 and the 7. And then you're going to take the player one total, and you're going to do plus equal whatever value is returned here. So I'll just put in value. Okay, and that'll go 28 times. And when it's done, display the value. The player two needs to be. Okay, and if you find that this is consistently over 100, you can lower this number. Okay, now player two's processing is going to be different because they get to choose when they quit. Okay, so I mean, you could do, character quit equals, set it to no. Okay, and then you can do something like while quit. Let's see. Equals whatever you decide for the sentinel. Okay, so I mean, it can be a cue to quit. Okay, well, it's basically whatever you decide. This can be a while loop or do while loop. They need to enter at least one, so you can pick. And so here you are going to do this same exact code. Okay, but at the bottom, then you need to, you would need to display player two's total. Ask if they want to continue. And then you're going to have to read in. So it's going to be quit equals char.parse, console.readline. Okay, and that's pretty much the loop. Okay, so the only way they're going to get out is by doing a queue. So at this point, you have, and that should be player two total. You have a total for player one and a total for player two. Now you got to figure out who won. And this is the logic that you will be checking. So if else if kind of tells you that you need a nested if else. Okay, and these are the rules. And so basically you're going to check if player 1 is greater than 100 and player 2 is greater than 100. Basically they both lost, but it's a tie. Okay. So if that's true, you're going to print out a right line message that it's a tie. Else, if player 1 is greater than 100 and player 2 is less than 100, you'll print out a message that says player 2 wins. Okay, so these are the rules you're going to follow. And so you want to make sure that you are printing out, who wins, who loses, whether it's a tie. And then at the very, very bottom. Okay, and so you're going to code all of this first. And at the very, very bottom, you are going to, after you determine a winner, you're going to ask if they want to do this again. And so I would not try to code this ahead of time. I would test it, make sure it's working, and then add this logic in. Okay, and so for that, to put all of this in a loop, right? Because here you've got your nested if else. Okay, so you've basically declared a winner. Now you want to put all of this in a loop. And so I would have something, keep playing. It can, and you can have it integer, you can have it string, you can have a character, whatever you want the sentinel to be. And so there are a lot of different ways to set this up. So while they want to keep playing, I'm going to keep them in this loop. At the bottom of the loop, I would do a right line asking if they want to play again. Yes, to continue. And then I would read the character in. Clear that parse. Okay, so do all of this code first. And then you can add in that outer while loop. That is what works the best. Okay, and then to help you guys, I did give you kind of the pseudocode here for the logic. And I do have an example of the program running. Okay, so once you have yours running, or if you want to see how it should run before you proceed, you can play that back. So that is the assignment. And so I hope you guys have fun with this. If you have problems, please reach out and I can help you.